Welcome to C's Backstage, your all-access pass to everything you need to know to design, produce, and inspire your next event.
I'm your host, Troy Peters, Chief Experience Officer here at C's Productions, to walk you through all the ins and outs of production and event design and all that fun stuff.
Remember to subscribe to the podcast at cspro.com/backstage or wherever you get your favorite podcasts so you too can be backstage.
I love it. You guys are naturals.
Yeah,
I understand you guys are some actors and some kids of some pretty cool parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today's episode, we have Jack and Faith, who I've known for a while now.
Oh.
We go way back, right?
Oh, yeah.
We've definitely...
He's totally not our dad or anything.
10 years I've probably known you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're 10 years old.
So that would make sense.
Great.
And you guys have kind of followed what Dad does. You know kind of what he does. What do you think Dad does?
You do shows and lead
Prep,
shows?
create, like designs.
Yeah. Designs for...
Yeah, for shows.
Everything.
everything.
Everything,
I love it.
really. Like,
Yeah.
you use a lot of technology and such.
Wow, you guys
Yeah.
know the right words. That's fantastic. Well, that is
Technology.
kind of what we do, and that's kind of what the podcast is for. The podcast is a way for us to share about the technology, because a lot of people are afraid of technology and might not know the best ways to use it for their events. So you're right. Dad works with a team. We try to design really interesting event experiences, right?
Yeah.
Could you guys tell me about an experience that you had recently that was maybe kind of neat?
Like,
Vacation.
that's what
Vacations are good experiences. You guys are kind of on a vacation right now, traveling with Dad.
Recently, as in today and tomorrow and yesterday.
Yes,
Today
this
and
is true.
yesterday.
Why don't we think about where do we go for spring break?
Disney World.
We went
Disney.
to Disney World. You guys had never been to Disney World before. You guys have been to Disneyland a few times.
Yeah.
But how would you think about the Disney World experience? So my job a lot of the times is working with our partners and our clients, and I help them find a journey. And the journey is the experience of, like, when you get your ticket to go to the event, and then when you show up at the event, and then when you walk through the space, and then you go into different meeting rooms, how that experience sort of helps to tell a story all the way through it. So if you think about, like, your vacation to Disney World, which is a perfect example, when was the first time you found out you were going to Disney World?
We found out at
Christmas.
Christmas, and it was like in a letter with, it's like the last present we opened because he told us to.
Yeah. It
Who-
said open present last.
Yeah. Cool. Who was the letter from?
You and Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of the way, and that was like 3 months before we were even in Disney World, right?
Yeah.
So it really was like the sort of like, here's the idea. We
The
kind of used it to
idea.
get you excited. And then for 3 months, you were like, part of you is like, oh, I got to wait 3
I
months.
wanna
But the other
go.
part's like the anticipation and the excitement that builds up to it. And I think actually even that shirt you've got on that was one of the things you opened at Christmas, right? So you got just a couple little things. You got the watches, the bands, so you
Yeah.
can get in and everything. And then 3 months pass and we fly to Orlando, Florida.
We go.
And so how was that experience? So we got up that morning and we headed to the airport, got on an airplane, and flew for 6 hours.
Yeah.
Early.
Was
and
early.
long.
3:00.
We did get up pretty early. But then we got to the airport. How was the airport experience?
It
was-
was good because we go to airports a lot.
Yeah,
A little bit stressful.
It's a little bit stressful.
I don't know.
Perfect.
I
so
feel like it's fun.
there's
really
you
fun.
notice how it's an experience working your way through an airport, right? All the lines and where you need to go. There's digital signage. Remember when we were traveling here yesterday, I was guys, make sure you always check on the boards and make sure your plane's leaving on time and
Yeah.
which gate you need to go
Yeah.
to. Even though maybe in your app it does as well, but always double checking.
Double
So
check.
so going through the airport is an experience. There's lineups, there's things that you're waiting to get through. There's a ride that you go on if you take the shuttle, right, from the parking lot to
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Yeah,
airport.
the line.
Yeah.
And then the Underground Railroad in Seattle, where you get to the North Terminal.
Yeah.
So all of those are kind of like what you do at Disney World. You're in
Yeah.
lines, you're waiting for your ticket, you're getting through security, you're
going
riding on
a
rides.
Yeah.
What's the difference between those two experiences?
Disney World has a more like happy atmosphere, and then
Environment,
Yeah.
such.
like the airport has more of a like. It doesn't
You gotta
have
get
like
there. You gotta get there. Like, don't miss your flight. Such.
it doesn't have like
that.
colors or anything. It's only
I mean,
like
it
Interesting.
kind of does.
Gray,
The
white,
art
and
sometimes,
black.
like, there's sometimes art there.
but
That's
like
true.
in Disney World, it's like all sorts of colors with like
I mean, it's called the happiest place on earth. Is that Disneyland or
That's-
is that
yeah, that's
It's
Disneyland.
Disneyland, but still.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Ignore, please.
But that's a great example. So, like, think about standing in line for Rise of the
Magical.
Resistance.
It was magical.
Yeah.
Right? Think about
It's
the-
like
being
decorative.
in that line. You're already part of the experience, right?
Yeah, but like waiting for security, you don't have anything to be distracted by instead of waiting in line.
This is
Yeah.
true. Very true. You're more just like standing and then you're like moving a couple spots and standing and moving a couple spots. So
I
isn't
mean,
that
they both have
interesting?
lines, so.
Isn't that interesting how it just takes a little bit of more imagination to just kind
Yeah.
of come up with something
Mhm.
that might be a better experience?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Huh. You guys are smart. All right. And then when you
Smart.
got to Disneyland, we stayed on property. So we stayed at one of the Disneyland hotels or Disney World hotels. So walking in, how did that feel? Was that part of the experience too?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
'cause-
definitely like different than a like normal hotel.
Mm-hmm.
How is it different?
It
It had a monorail going through it.
The
That's
contemporary
pretty
resort.
much
it has more like shops instead of like a normal hotel.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you check in and then there's nothing but rooms.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they really want that experience. They want to try and keep you in that space. And we do that a lot in events where it's like everybody's going to a city to be at a conference for like 4 or 5 days. And it's really important that we keep people in the space. We don't want them like if they go to a conference and it's like, oh, if there's a baseball across the road, baseball game, I'm going to go
Well,
watch baseball instead. We want to keep them in the building. So we need to keep it exciting, even if they're in a hotel, right? They go down to the lobby and see the branding for the conference, or maybe we build one of those big,
Yeah.
huge LED walls.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we put up content on it.
And
Yeah,
again, it has a monorail going through it.
Not
The
every show
room-
we get has a monorail. We're working on that.
The rooms, the like rooms aren't like normally you have a bed and
Just-
like sometimes like a kitchen
Right.
and a table. But this one, it's more like it's decorated like like that one was decorated with the Incredibles.
Yep.
And so there's always something to like look for, like a hidden Mickey, instead of just like laying on the bed playing like electronics or something.
That's beautiful. So exactly. And it would be neat if you were like, maybe you were working through an airport and you knew there were hidden symbols or something that,
Yeah.
kids could kind of keep an eye out for. Wouldn't that just be cool? I'm actually thinking now about this. I'm going to find one of my clients that wants to do like a hidden Mickey at their conference where maybe everybody gets points. They can like, I found, and if they take pictures of it, like a scavenger hunt or something.
Yeah.
You
Wouldn't that
have
be
like
cool?
C's logos.
Yeah.
The little-
Or the logos from the company or the association if we're doing some sort of an event for them. That
And
would be
yeah.
really neat.
like I like when it was interactive, where you could say, "Oh wait, I see that. It's related to this or something."
Exactly. 'Cause all those things trigger different memories and thoughts and emotions and
Yeah,
Right?
also like something to like build up towards, like instead of just like I found a Mickey, I found another one.
right.
You could have that Mickey lead to another one, cuz otherwise
Yeah.
you're just like spotting them all over with like no story with it.
I love that. That's very thoughtful. And that's what I was saying at the beginning. My job is to create a story. And you guys are actors. You guys have been how many plays?
5.
At least.
know.
Yeah. And so you know that there's like an arc to the story, right? You start with what you guys know what it's called. It's like the leading
The intro, the rising action, the climax, the falling action.
And the resolution.
I thought there was like one more, but
Yeah. So when you go to an event, you really want to have that as well, right? You want to have that, like you're saying, it sort of sets it up and builds that story. You're like the rising action and the climax, and then you want that sort of to end out nicely too, right? So thinking about the end of your journey, the end of your time at Disney World or whatever your experience was, how does
Sad.
that feel?
It feels like sad cuz you're going back to like normal instead of exciting.
Real life.
fun there.
Yeah.
Like
But is there things that you think of like that make you like there's a word that we talk about often, which is bittersweet, where it's like, oh, I just loved everything I was a part of. It's a bit sad, but it makes you maybe think of the world a little differently, or you think about the next time you're going to go.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
and that's
And
kind of exciting.
It's kind of a good thing that you're going, cause so it's not like it doesn't get boring when you just if it's like annual. Like we do it mostly every 2 years.
Right.
So if it's like less than that, then it can get boring. Kind
True.
Of, so
Yeah, you don't want to
it's better if
overdo
it's
it.
annual or something.
Yeah. So if you're doing it, and then you can kind of, it's nice because you're at the end of it, but you know you're going to go again. So you kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I think when we left Disney World, because you guys hadn't been, I hadn't been since I was a little kid, there was a lot of like, which parts would you do again, right? We were talking
Yeah.
about, or like certain parts that they have at Disneyland. Would we bother doing it at Disney World again? Like, would we even go to the Magic Kingdom? Maybe not. Maybe we'd spend the whole time at Epcot or Hollywood Studios or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't do Tron. I actually wanted to do that.
Yeah. Same.
Sometimes you got to save
I was
something for next
scared.
time.
It's kind of like makes it like easier to leave if you have like something with you.
Right.
I mean,
Like that's why
Yeah.
that's why they have so many like shopping areas
Right.
so
And
that
so
you can take a piece of Disney World with you.
That's brilliantly put.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exit through the gift shop, right?
Yeah.
Always exit through the gift
Yeah.
shop. So that's what we even want to do at our conferences a lot. We want people to sign up for next year. We want them to like, oh, I want to learn more about that tech, and we can kind of like maybe do webinars between the years and stuff like that. So very similar.
Yeah.
Well, Jack and Faith, thanks so much for coming on the podcast finally. I know we tried to do
Yeah.
one before, but the record didn't work. So it's fun that we got to do this one. You guys are a little more comfortable with it, I think, too.
I was scared still.
Yeah, you guys did amazing. You guys said all the right things. Do you guys want to close it out? Jack, you read the first top part. You can say, this has been
This where is it?
the top here where it says,
It's
instead of
says
welcome, you
welcome.
can say, this has been C's Backstage. And go, Jackson.
This has been C's Backstage, your all access pass to everything you need to know to design, produce, and inspire your next event.
I've been your host, Chief Experience Officer here at C's Productions, along with Jack and Faith, my kids. Thank you so much for being on the show. And then, Faith, you read that last line.
The last one.
The one about the
Yeah.
subscribe.
Remember to subscribe to the podcast at cspro.com/backstage or wherever you get your favorite podcasts so you too can be backstage.
I love it. Thanks so much, you guys. Wave to the cameras. Thanks, everybody, for watching us.
There's
This
4
was a lot
cameras.
of fun.
What do
Which
I
one do you
do?
look at?
know.
Awesome.
Main camera.
All right, let's go get some
1.
In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah.
Yay!
Thanks. Thanks, guys.